In the United States of America, a confrontation is brewing between Donald Trump and local authorities in various states over the issue of combating illegal immigration. The governor of Illinois directly called Donald Trump a dictator and a coward who is ready to send the army to fight against Americans. At the same time, the fight against migrants has sparked a major international scandal with a key United States partner. At the site of the giant Hyundai LG battery plant in Georgia, federal agents detained 475 people, most of whom were Korean. Work came to a halt. South Korea, an ally and investor, is outraged. And this created a loud scandal, because America is simultaneously inviting factories from Asia and tightening immigration. And when these two issues collide head-on, trust in American rules starts to crack. But the crazy part of the story is that the Immigration Service posted a video of a major operation at the Hyundai factory in Georgia, where 475 people were detained. This wasn't just a document check. It was a showy operation with handcuffs, work stoppages, and so on. And these scenes have already been seen in Seoul. But before we start this episode, I'll say right away that in this matter, what matters most is legality and turbulence. Turbulence can disappear if companies stop hiring illegal workers to save money. But let's look at this story from different angles. My name is Alexei Pechi. Before we move on to this topic, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, like the video, leave any comment, and be sure to subscribe to my Telegram channel, Pechi News. The link to it is in the description of this video. So I'll start with the argument between Donald Trump and the governor of Illinois in the context of the migration struggle. "I love the smell of deportation in the morning," wrote Trump on his social network Truth Social. He promised Chicago, Illinois, that the city would soon feel the meaning of the new name of the Ministry of War. In his post, Trump poses as Lieutenant Colonel Kilgore, using the iconic line, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning." The President of the United States is threatening war against an American city. This is not a joke, and this is not normal. That's how Illinois Governor Jay Pritzker responded to Trump. And I'll continue his quote, "Donald Trump is not a strong man, he is a frightened man. Illinois will not be intimidated by a self-proclaimed dictator." As you can imagine, tensions are rising, and this could erupt into a loud confrontation between the White House and local authorities. But another incident could have far more dangerous consequences for the United States. This is the mass detention of South Koreans at a factory in Georgia. The raid on the Hyundai electric vehicle factory in Georgia, during which 475 foreigners were detained, was the largest in the past 20 years. It's officially known that over 300 people are South Korean citizens. Seoul's position was made clear from the beginning. But when the United States Immigration Services posted videos of the detention, escorting, and so on, the Korean side made a strong statement. United States law enforcement should not unjustifiably violate our company's economic activities or our citizens' interests. Let me put it in simple terms. South Korea says to Trump, "You invite our billion-dollar investments into your country, you ask us to set up our production in America. Well, then give us something predictable." Washington, in turn, is betting on expanding such operations. And so, the White House border coordinator, Tom Homan, responds by saying, quote, "There will be more workplace raids." That's the key phrase. This isn't a one-time spike, it's a policy direction. And for investors, that means recalculating budgets. More lawyers, compliance, and delays. What happened? 475 employees were detained, mostly Republic of Korea citizens. Largest operation in Immigration Service history. A giant factory's work was halted. And two important direct quotes. The chairman of Hyundai says that none of those detained were our direct employees. The company states, "We will investigate. Hyundai has zero tolerance for violators." These phrases explain a lot. It's like a network of subcontractors, some kind of paperwork mess with visas. Responsibility is spread out, which means the head office has to get involved in the factory's work directly. Hyundai says, "Sort out your companies that work with us. These are not our employees. These were contractors, subcontractors who worked at our factory, and these are their employees, not ours." Although here South Korea has so far decided not to escalate the situation, South Korea announced an agreement with the United States. More than 300 detainees will soon be released and sent home by charter flight. This isn't a happy ending, it's just protection against reputational harm. People are leaving, but the hole in the budgets remains. Installers and technicians don't just appear out of thin air. That means rehiring, retraining, new delays, and so on. The electric vehicle battery supply chain is slowing, impacting the whole market. That's just one example. How does this affect the economy? Now I'll explain why all this matters to a viewer who is far removed from the intricacies of American immigration. Because this is a story about money and timing. When the schedule is disrupted at factories of this scale, it has a ripple effect. Electronics and car deliveries, green industry plants, raw material prices, and so on are all affected. But there's another important point here. After the raid, the White House targeted more businesses. Story translations will increase significantly. So, investors in the European Union and in Asia are factoring in new risks and asking themselves, where is it cheaper and more stable? In Georgia, for example, or in some European country? Now, Korea's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says our company's economic activities should not be disrupted without cause. This is the language of an ally who has brought in a suitcase of money and doesn't want any special rights, just a normal platform for doing business. The American response is equally direct. Quote, any foreign workers must enter legally and with work permits. And that's fair. Yes, the law is the law, that's quite fair. But if the law can't keep up with reality, it creates this kind of unpleasant picture for international business in the United States. There's also an image of strength that's spread across social media. And in these videos, you can hear a migration agent saying, quote, we have a warrant for the entire premises. Stop work immediately. Well, for the ratings of the Trump administration's toughness, this is quite a dramatic scene. An agent rushes in and halts a massive factory with one phrase, causing trouble for the factory. It's about money, because every day of downtime means fines, rescheduling, extra millions for security and lawyers. How could this lead to bad outcomes for the United States? When the United States is distracted by internal crackdowns dealing with visa lawsuits from Europe, China, India, and so on, there's a temptation to prioritize their own subsidies and pull this production to themselves. Europe, for example, could now say to Hyundai, listen, we'll give you subsidies. We won't have those kinds of problems here. We won't film and show the whole world how we escort illegal migrants out with your company. Bring your factories here. Why do you need America? Here's another quote that shows where this is heading. Tom Homan, that very same border king of Trump, said bluntly, there will be even more of these kinds of raids. No one hires illegals out of kindness. They hire them to pay less and squeeze out competitors. It's political, it's a message for their own audience. But in practice, it's a signal to companies. Prepare your documents perfectly or get ready for raids like these. Overall, in this context, I can agree with Koman. The end. Trump wants more factories in the United States and accordingly more jobs. He wants many companies to move their production from China, India, and Asian countries back to the United States. And at the same time, he wants zero tolerance for immigration violations. These are two correct goals that, in reality, conflict with each other. The only solution is to establish order in specialist visa corridors before launching new factories, not after a raid. Otherwise, each new mega project risks becoming another series like this. First, there are ribbon cuttings, speeches by governors, and the opening of production facilities in the United States. Then comes the immigration crackdown, raids, and in the end, charter flights, sending workers back and reputational damage. Today it's Georgia. Tomorrow it could be any other flagship at all. And this really hurts the reputation of the United States. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. That's it for now. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.